Hi, I'm Kai. Welcome back to ClearKai. Last time we learned how to solve simple linear equations using two key steps: simplify, then isolate the variable. Today, we are going one step further. We will take on harder linear equations that include fractions, parentheses, and exponent. This kind of problems might look complicated at first, but they follow the same rules we already know. Once you learn how to simplify and balance both sides carefully, they will start to feel easy, even satisfying to solve. Let's get started. Before we jump into the new problems, let's take a quick review of what we learned last time. There we really just two key steps for solving linear equations. Step 1. Simplify both sides. That means combine like terms and clean things up so the equation looks simpler. Isolate the variable. Move everything else away from x, so x stands alone. That's it. Simplify and isolate. These two steps can solve almost every SSAT algebra question you will see. For example, if we start with 3x plus 5 equals 14, we simplify by subtracting 5 from both sides to get 3x equals 9, then divide by 3 and get x equals 3. Alright, now that we've got the pattern fresh in our minds, let's move on to some harder equations. Let's start with our first challenge, equations that include parentheses. Here we have negative 2 times 3x minus 5 equals 4 times 2x minus 12.5. Before distributing, notice that both sides are multiplied by 2. It's often easier to simplify first, so we divide both sides by 2 to make the numbers smaller and cleaner. That gives us negative 3x minus 5 equals 2 times 2x minus 12.5. Now we can distribute. On the left, be extra careful. That negative sign applies to everything inside the parentheses. So negative 3x minus 5 becomes negative 3x plus 5. On the right, 2 times 2x minus 12.5 becomes 4x minus 25. And now our equation looks much simpler. Negative 3x plus 5 equals 4x minus 25. Once we are here, we can move on to isolating x, and we will see how that plays out in the next step. Now let's finish solving this step by step. Our goal is to isolate x. So first, let's move the x's to one side. We will add 3x to both sides. That gives us 5 equals 7x minus 25. Next, let's move the constant over to the other side. We will add 25 to both sides. Finally, to isolate x, divide both sides by 7 and we get x equals 30 over 7. That's our final answer. Let's move on to problem 2, exponents and square roots. Here we have x equals 3 squared divided by the square root of 81. Whenever you see powers and roots in one problem, the first step is to simplify them. So first, let's simplify 3 squared. That means 3 times 3, which equals 9. Now our equation becomes x equals 9 divided by the square root of 81. Next, we simplify the square root. That square root of 81 is 9, because 9 times 9 equals 81. So we have x equals 9 divided by 9. And that's simplified to just x equals 1. So our answer is 1. Always remember, when you see exponents or roots in the same problem, simplify this first, before dividing or doing anything else. Here's problem 3, exponents and cube roots. We start with 3y cubed equals 24. That means 3 times y to the third power equals 24. our first step is to simplify by dividing both sides by 3. That gives us y cubed equals 8. Now, to undo a cube, we take the cube root, which is the opposite of rising to the third power. So we take the cube root of both sides. That gives us y equals the cube root of 8. And since 2 times 2 times 2 equals 8, the cube root of 8 is 2. So our final answer is y equals 2. Whenever you see a cube like this, just remember the cube root is how we undo that third power. Now let's look at problem 4, fractions and clearing denominators. We start with 4 minus x over 3 minus x over 4 equals 3 over 4. When we have fractions with different denominators, the easiest way to make life simpler is to clear the fractions altogether. To do that, we multiply every term by the least common multiply of the denominators. In this case, 3 and 4, the least common multiply is 12. So we multiply everything by 12. 12 times 4 minus x over 3 minus 12 times x over 4 equals 12 times 3 over 4. Now let's simplify each term. 12 divided by 3 is 4, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. So now we have 4 times 4 minus x minus 3 times x equals 3 times 3. Let's distribute and simplify. 4 times 4 is 16, and 4 times negative x is negative 4x. So the equation becomes 16 minus 4x minus 3x equals 9. And now all the fractions are gone. We've turned this messy fraction equation into a nice, clean, linear one. Now let's finish problem 4 by solving step by step. We have 16 minus 4x minus 3x equals 9. First, let's combine like terms. Negative 4x and negative 3x combine to make negative 7x. So now the equation becomes 16 minus 7x equals 9. Next, let's isolate the x term. Subtract 16 from both sides. That gives us negative 7x equals negative 7. Finally, divide both sides by negative 7. So our answer is x equals 1. And that's it. When you clear the fractions earlier, the rest of the equation becomes simple and familiar. Alright, here's our final problem. Problem 5. Isolate and undo the cube. We start with 4 plus x cubed over 9 equals 7. Just like before, we want to get the variable by itself. In this case, x cubed. So first, subtract 4 from both sides. That gives us x cubed over 9 equals to 3. Next, we multiply both sides by 9 to remove the denominator. X cubed equals 27. Now we've isolated the cube, so it's time to undo the cube by taking the cube root of both sides. The cube root of 27 is 3. So we have x equals 3. That's it. Whenever you see an equation with a cube, just remember, get the cube term alone first, and then take the cube root to solve it. Alright, let's wrap up with a big one. Problem 6. We start with 3 times 1 parenthesis x minus 1 over 6 close parenthesis equals 6 over 8 plus 3x. This looks messy, but don't worry. We will simplify one piece at a time. First, simplify the fractions wherever you can. 6 over 8 simplifies to 3 over 4. So the equation becomes x minus 1 over 2 equals 3 over 4 plus 3x. Now let's clear the denominator by multiplying both sides by 4. Since that's the least common denominator here. So we multiply the entire equation by 4. 4 times open parenthesis x minus 1 over 2 equals 4 times 3 over 4 plus 4 times 3x. On the left, 4 divided by 2 gives us 2. On the right, 4 times 3 over 4 becomes 3. So now we have 2 times open parenthesis x minus 1 close parenthesis equals 3 plus 12x. And look, the fractions are gone. Now it's just a regular linear equation we can solve using the same 2 steps, simplify and isolate. Remember, big problems get small when you simplify first. Now let's finish problem 6 step by step. We start with 2 times open parenthesis x minus 1 close parenthesis equals 3 plus 12x. First, distribute the 2 on the left side. That gives us 2x minus 2 equals 3 plus 12x. Now we want to get all the x terms on one side and the numbers on the other. Let's subtract 2x from both sides and subtract 3 from both sides. Now we have negative 5 equals 10x. And finally, divide both sides by 10. So our answer is x equals negative 1/2. And we're done. Even though this problem looks long, notice we use the same 2 steps. Simplify, then isolate, just with a few more moving parts. What we learned in lesson 2. First, simplify before solving. Whenever you see fractions, parentheses, or big numbers, make them smaller or cleaner first. Second, get rid of fractions early. Multiplying by least common denominator makes everything so much easier to use. Third, keep both sides balanced. Whatever you do to one side of the equation, always do to the other. Fourth, work backwards from powers and roots. If something is squared or cubed, undo it by taking the square root or cube roots. And finally, check your answer at the end. It's always a good habit to plug it back in to make sure it works. Steps are the same strategy we will keep using, even when the equations get harder. And speaking of harder equations, let's get ready for lesson 3, Advanced Algebra, where we will take our exponential and rational equations step by step. Fantastic work today! You've made it through some really tricky equations. You handled fractions, parentheses, and exponents like a pro. In our next lesson, we are going to level up again. We will take everything you've learned so far and apply it to even tougher problems like this. We will look at equations where the variables are inside the denominators, and even ones that involve square roots or exponents. By the end, you will know how to handle rational and radical equations, step by step, just like we always do. So if you're ready for a challenge, I will see you in lesson 3, Advanced Algebra. Thanks for learning with me today. I hope this lesson makes things a little clearer for you. Remember, learning math is just like solving equations, one clear step at a time. See you in the next lesson with ClearKai.